Alrighty, now that we're back, been trying to get the F1 through 6 keys working to actually spectate and switch between characters. Let's see if somehow they got turned off here. That is entirely possible. No, see, can you double check me on that? It says spectate player 1, F1 all the way through F12. Is that correct?
I don't know. I can't really tell. It's not very clear written on the screen. That aside, the blue team is still in a skirmish waiting to join a game to get started. And they have found a game in Ilios. Capture the point for best first to 2 gets the win. Let's take a look at the team comp they decide for a King of the Hill map.
Are you expecting any particular heroes on this particular map that tend to do well on a map like this?
For the first point here, which is Ruins, which I believe is not what is shown on the loading screen right now. Sniper is very effective in Ruins. Lucio can guard that edge health pack to boot people off, but mostly because there is a pit. A Junkrat, a Mei will be very, very effective in this game. Looks like there's a Junkrat in the blue team. If those explosives does prove me right, there is a Junkrat as well as a Winston. A pretty, what was the semi-dive comp? A Mercy, of course, trying to get that Mercy team resin before the patch comes in. I'm an Orisa to hold that, which is very effective because to the point, there is a small choke point, a ramp, which Orisa can be very effective.
Capture the objective.
The match is starting. Orisa going to make her way down there. Junkrat going to go first, see if he can get a bomb here and there down. A soldier will be a good choice here, especially if there's a Pharah. That's quite a common pick here. The enemy team does have a Reinhardt, which serves the same purpose as the Orisa, but can provide a lot less DPS. There is an enemy soldier off the red team, off their own. The Orisa, having the shield set up a bit further back than you would have liked, can get another shield down a bit more further. Red team is on the point. The blue team needs to now move on to the point to make sure they don't secure that point.
While the red team is on it and has almost filled up that entire circle, they unfortunately were not able to do that before the blue team got there and is now contesting the point. The enemy Mercy and Reinhardt goes down, so that's quite a bit of their tank and sustain just unavailable to them. With a soldier going down, the red team's contesting of the point is not quite there. The blue team is on it, and they're going to try to start filling up that capture meter on their own. Unfortunately, Orisa goes down, so North End's coming back in on the Mercy. Let's see if he can get in there and get those people healed up before it is time. Smelly Toes on that Junkrat is able to get a good rip-tire kill, which then blows the enemy Mercy's res. That might be a little bit premature for that res there. I'm not sure resing for one hero is necessarily worth it.
Now the red team capture was done mainly by the Roadhog as he survived by about 5 health with the whole hog, being able to stay alive with the Mercy to heal him up for the team fight then. The blue team having a bit of a surround on the red team. The red team clumped up. Looks like we'll see if the blue team does get 2 kills. The Junkrat, I don't know if he switched off Junkrat with blue team and 30 final stragglers. Hunter does get 1 kill, but that's only 1 kill out of the 4 kills from the blue team. Blue team is going to secure this point.
All right, so 27% for the red team is not a bad percentage for them to get in a first capture of the point, but it's also not quite as much as they would want to get. Typically, if we're going to be trading the point back and forth, I'd want at least, I'd say, 40 to 50% of the capture meter before I have to lose the point and try to push off of it again.
The soldier does have visor ready, and the red team looks like they're all in that small room to the right side, which can spell disasters. And there is a Junkrat, which is dead now. Red team does get 2 picks. The dragon comes out. The Orisa dead, and looks like the red team is in a comfortable position to take the point. But the blue team res a double res, not as many heroes to res as she would have hoped. Does get taken out immediately right afterwards. Let's take a look. The visor does come out, gets the Mercy down, and see if that is enough. Gets a 2nd kill, but the red team did already capture the point, which means the point is going to go off, as, even if the blue team tries to contest.
And even with that, the blue team was able to get 45% on their first gold, which the red team was just able to get up to and match.
The soldier survives there. No, it gets finished off by the Roadhog with the right click. Mercy double res for the red team comes out, stunned from the Earth Shatter, 2 ults out, the charge, and it looks like I cannot quite tell who's having the upper hand here. The Reinhardt is completely overextended, but the red team still holding on to the point.
And they've just traded tanks at this point, so it's kind of hard to figure out. It looks like Orissa's about to have her ult ready. Let's see if she can get into that point, sort of plant herself with a shield down and her, what is it called?
Blue team does get 2 kills, almost securing the point. Once they get the Hog down, the Hog is down, gets the secure on the point, 84% to 40%. Red team has double the percentage, but blue team is going to slowly move back up.
Yeah, I mean,
damage boost comes down at a very odd time for Orisa, which is not.
I mean, that was how they were able to push the red team off, because they were all affected by that damage boost. The red team just couldn't keep up with that. They did take down the enemy Mercy, so they've got another few seconds where damage that they inflict on that enemy team is going to be effectively permanent until that Mercy gets back here. Unfortunately, both the Genji and the Winston go down, but they take down the enemy Orisa tank.
Now, I would have preferred if Orisa had saved her ult after his teammates used the ult, because Orisa double damage for the whole team can let the other team build their ults very fast. That is quite the common strategy here. Orisa going to get flanked by 2 heroes, survives, but is again going to get any killing. The double rest for the blue team does come out. The red team trying to take away the point. The overtime does trigger 2.
Sorry, nope, the stream is working. Just something is weird on my phone, which is observing.
Looks like 3 kills for the blue team. The red team did get a double kill, double res, but it was not enough to push the blue team off. The blue team completely wipes the red team with the team kill and secures the first point.
Sorry, my phone, which I use to monitor the stream, was not showing updating and is not doing it again, and I'm just going to trust that the stream is working because it has been the entire time.
Now, I was mentioning just now that there is a new meta strategy coming out of competitive play, which revolves around Orisa getting damage boosted and healed by the healers, building up her ult, and can use her ult, which damage boosts the entire team, and the rest of the team can build their ult twice as fast. That strategy has not caught on yet. I'm not sure if the blue team is aware of that strategy, but it will be interesting to see how that plays out, especially since new patches are coming in the near future.
I will say that this group has in the past held some defense points by doing 3 healers and an Orisa, which just makes that Orisa nearly impossible to take down. But unfortunately, if you're going with that strategy and the Orisa does go down, then you've just got a bunch of healers and not much else.
Now, Ilios well, which is an interesting map here because of the looping potentials. Looks like there's a Pharaoh Mercy on the enemy team, going to cause a lot of trouble unless the soldier can carry his weight to shut them down. Orisa is in a comfortable holding position compared to the red team's Orisa. Looks like Roadhog is going to be quite a nuisance trying to flank here. A bit overextended. But we'll see if he gets away safely. The Roadhog can pull people into the well, which does with the blue team. Orisa gets the tank down, but the blue team is 1 hero up compared to the red team. Roadhog still trying to get some flanking positions. Orisa's also a pretty good pick here because of the pulling ability into the wall. Roadhog gets a second pull, but Winston can jump out if he does have jump pack ready. The blue team Genji does get 2 kills, which is going to make the blue team secure the points, which is doing very well here for the blue team.
Right. That entire time since the point opened until just a few seconds ago, that point was contested, which I think is one of the longer contestations between these two teams that we've seen so far.
Now, Junkrat on the blue team with Bear on the other team might spell disaster. The whole hog does come out, gets 2 kills from the red team, but the blue team does destroy the Roadhog with a Genji. Will be interesting to watch. Oh, the Mercy wanted to go for that res there, but did not get it at all. But as I was saying, the double kill for the blue team and a double res for the red team evens it out, and Farah gets another kill from the Junkrat. As I was saying, it will be interesting to see a Junkrat versus Farah. on this map. I'm not quite sure if Junker will switch out to something that can deal with the Pharah Mercy.
Yeah, it usually turns out pretty poorly for the Junkrat if there's a Pharah on the other team, which I can speak from my own experience. Then again, most anything on the other team ends up being a bad time for me as a Junkrat.
Blue team has now regrouped, only 3 people trying to find the point. Pharah and Mercy trying to go for the flank is going to cause a bit of trouble because Pharah can get a lot of damage out as the blue team respawns. The Pharah does get one more kill from the Genji. Now, in competitive play, Genji is a counter towards Pharah for high-level play, but we're not sure if this Genji is comfortable enough to be shutting down the Pharah for the red team. 2 kills from the red team, still going to hold on to that point, approaching 42% even for the point percentage, and now going to overtake the blue team.
I've got you in my sights.
Visor does come out for the blue team, or I'm not quite sure if that was from the blue team. No, looks like blue team still is still holding on to the ults. Genji trying to do a little bit of poking here. There dodges the hook,
That
but cannot get
was a
ult.
close hook. That almost spelled the end for Derpolis there, but he managed to avoid it with a well-timed jump. Now it looks like the blue team has sort of regrouped. They are standing behind this Orisa, and they get a double kill, but then an immediate double res, and another 3 go down for the blue team. Unfortunately, that double res was not quite able to do enough work.
Now 80% on the clock here, on the percentage here. The blue team does have 4, now I believe 5 ults. Can do a push to knock the red team off, especially since they used 3 ults in that previous fight. The Junkrat a bit overextended, cannot go down since this is such a critical time. 90%, 10% left. They have to move in now with 5 ults. They have to get something to work here. Cannot push in at all. The monkey has to jump in, or it looks like monkey does jump in, gets to trigger the overtime, and let's see if they can make something work with the 5 ults.
We've got Mercy there healing that monkey up, keeping him alive despite, jumping into the middle of 6 of the enemy team.
Visor gets 2 kills. Mercy does not have res for the blue team. Mercy does go for the res for the red team. 2 comes up, but 2 goes down for the red team. Evens that out. Another kill from the Riptire, and it looks like the blue team can get this point. The Mercy does go down, which means there's no healing, but the double damage boost. The Genji trying to finish off the Hawk here to secure the points, and blue team is now on their way to climb back up to secure the win.
Derpolis here on fire does manage to chase down that Roadhog and get him. Despite the fact that the red team is at 99%, the blue team was able to push them off and extend this game.
Now, blue team did use all of their offensive ults, but the Mercy does have the ult. The Mercy needs to play very, very safe and try to get out of harm's way as the red team is going to push in. The Mercy res very, very critical. Oh, the pull for the monkey, but the monkey jumps out. Did not get that free kill from the pull. Larissa putting in a pretty good shield for that push, but gets pulled into the wall. The blue team Marissa, but 2 kills from the Junkrats in a comfortable position. Now once again, Mercy needs to be a little bit more defensive. This is going to be a battle. Mercy gets chased down by the Roadhog, starts the regen, but does get shut down. That is going to spell might spell disaster for the red team. 3 kills, 4 kills, no res for this team fight. Once again, the Mercy should have played defensively to get that res.
Yep, and now we're at an overtime again. Every time we touch that point, that overtime bar does refill. So that is Soldier just trying to jump in there and get that, but unfortunately he dies. But that res comes in at the perfect time, getting 3 back up. They are able to extend the game, but is it going to be enough? Orisa's there, fortified with 150 HP, trying to take down the enemy Orisa. They got her down.
Oh, the pull, but did not pull the Roadhog in. There is very few players left as the others are trying to respawn. Remember, on overtime, respawn timer does go up. It looks like Red Wing has the upper hand. The Winston trying to drag this out as long as possible. Trace trying to do some work, as well as the Visor that came out. The Soldier, not aware of the Roadhog right beside him, does clean up. The res comes out for the red team, the double res. The monkey res comes out, which can buy a bit of time. Now Sombra and Tracer comes out, especially effective for overtime. Monkey chasing the Hawk all the way down. The Soldier does go down for the blue team. Another overtime triggered.
Which allows the Orisa to come in and get set up again. So maybe they're able to hold again behind this Orisa. This Orisa is sort of the cornerstone of the team, but unfortunately 3 on the blue team are down. That is 4 down. Objective failed. That was quite a fight, though.
Yes, and the red team celebrated by all jumping into the well. I would suggest next time the Mercy, especially since the patch hasn't come in out yet, if it's the solo ult on the team is the Mercy has to play very defensively because the other team members build ult, the rest comes in, the other team members finish their ult, can completely wipe the enemy team because it will catch the enemy team off guard. Now next map, which is Lighthouse. Lucio's going to be a pretty good pick, but it doesn't look like blue team is going to go with the Lucio here. Decides to stay with the same team comp. Will be interesting to see if they can make this work. The Lighthouse is in close space, which means Junkrat is going to do a very good job throwing bombs into the Lighthouse, into the point to get a lot of damage done. There is a Reaper that comes out from Green Mage, switching off into Reaper, which will be able to shut down both Orisa and the Roadhog. Take a look at the roster. Roadhog and Orisa stayed. The Pharah is also here. Looks like Red Team did not change the roster at all. The Reaper pick might just be the Monkey Wrench that can destroy the red team.
I will also note that Durpla switched off the Genji into a Soldier 76, which might be able to do a little bit more on this map than a Genji. I feel like this map is a little bit too up close and personal for Genji to really be able to jump in and out and get the sort of divey mechanics that he really wants there. That Orisa was almost dead, but unfortunately gets her shield up just in time. Let's see, Junkrat manages to get a Hanzo on his own, and those explosions are doing quite a bit of work, and even the death manages to get the soldier, but the enemy Mercy does do a double res.
Now that was actually a pretty smart play by the Junkrat. He knew that he was completely isolated, unable to get back to his team, decides to jump in from behind, get a few hits off, actually builds his ult, which is very big for here. The Roadhog does get a hook. Once again, on this map, it does favor Lucio, Junkrat, Pharah, and anybody who can pull other players off the map. The Roadhog being especially effective there, especially when he has the point and control. Looks like a Junkrat is holding on to that ult. Needs to get that ult from very unexpected areas so it does not get shut down. The Roadhog is on fire from all of the hooking that he did to cook the blue players off the map. Blue team regrouped. The Hanzo on the upper ground. This monkey does go down. They're one tank down. They need to regroup and wait for the tank to respawn. The Pharah doing a lot of work getting rid of the soldier, which is supposed to counter the Pharah, but the Mercy on the Pharah might prove too much trouble, especially since we have a Reaper trying to take out the tank. There is not a lot of help to take out that Pharah.
That's more like
it looks like blue team really struggling to gather the momentum they need to take the points. Reaper does take her off the Roadhog. That is one tank down. Let's see if blue team can gather and push onto the point, especially since there's 85%, 50% left for the match. 90% now. Blue team really needs to gather up. Winston does go up to get rid of that. Hanzo does not die. The Riptide does get one Hanzo. Blue team does move in completely. The Pharah comes down with justice, res from the Mercy, and it looks like the red team did come back with quite a bit, but it looks like it was not enough for the blue team to take that.
In the end, that's a 6-for-1 trade. That is not enough, and there wasn't even a team member who was able to jump in there and get an overtime extension.
Yeah, it looks like the early 4 kills in the first team fight on that map there, the red was able to secure a very strong defensive hold. And with the Hanzo up top, the Pharah flying around, and the Roadhog really denying that advance because of the danger of a hook. Really secured that win with a complete wipe. Wow, 37,000 damage blocked by the enemy Orisa. Very well done there. North End does get the card for playing as Mercy. Looks like the blue team is going to swap some members to get some variety in. We're going to leave the game since we can only spectate when the blue team is playing. So we're going to come back here and continue the commentating of the IU gaming team.
Fire in the hole! 动住，不许走！
Yeah, it is.
Fire at will.
All right, so we're jumping in with the other group of 3 that have been playing together right now, and it appears that they are pushing this cart. Just reached a second checkpoint. We've got budget cuts on the Reaper, Kalanick on a Junkrat, and Ibel on a Sombra.
This is a smaller stack, which means coordination is going to be not as apparent here. The pushing of the card is towards the final point here. Someone does have EMP ready, which might prove effective. Does get frozen by the red team's May and a Graviton. Oh, unsought to injury, 3 ults completely, but doesn't actually get any kills.
You know, what a wombo combo there, but just wasn't quite able to seal the deal.
Now Zarya and Hanzo wombo combo is the strongest combo in the game because there's nothing that can block Hanzo's ult except for maybe as a Nyata heal. But remember the Hanzo and the Zarya has to coordinate almost seamlessly in order to get that pulled off. Reaper up does come out, gets 2 kills, the Tracer and the Zarya, 2 very vital players. Remember, red team does have spawn advantage, which means they can come back very, very quickly. Oh, 3rd kill, but the Mercy goes down for the blue team, which means they don't have quite the sustain for that final kill. The May, very, very sad. The bomb comes out, does not kill off Fenoic. Fenoic as... Oh, 2 little health to try to survive that.
Budget cuts is there on the Reaper though, and manages to take that enemy May, who and is now coming up behind this this Junkrat and Zarya combo.
This is an arcade game with Reaper at 500 health and everybody at higher health. This is quite an interesting fight.
I think this would be Total Mayhem mode, perhaps?
We're gonna switch back to the other team, which is not arcade mode. This is gonna be a classic quick play to watch from the other group here. On Oasis, another King of the Hill map, in the library right now, it looks like Hachi playing Roadhog, which is an interesting choice. Lucio would be very effective on the right side, on the little balcony, but there's no Lucio I see in this map. We still cannot see the red team roster. Looks like the blue team just got the points, starting to rack up that percentage. There's a Lucio on the enemy team.
Oh, what
the
a
big
pull in. That is just a well-timed, and any sort of forced movement in a game like this where you are able to move the enemy out of the position they want to be in, that's an incredibly powerful ability, which is why Roadhog's hook is very good if you can land it, because, you know, if you get someone where they're not expecting to be, you are taking choices away from them, and in a game like this, you want to have as many choices and options available to you as possible. So that you can react to the situation at hand.
Blue team Roadhog doing a lot of work with that hook. There's a Doomfist for the blue team. There's a Widow on the red team, which is an interesting choice in library since there's not a lot of good vantage points to snipe as Widow. Blue team really comfortable here at almost 50%. Whole hog ready, which can really push people off the cliff if you wanted to. Doomfist looking for that flank, looking for that surprise dash in and trying to get maybe a support or two. The Roadhog hook does come out, does not connect. The red team really trying to regroup and trying to take the point back, but it doesn't look like they're coordinating very well. The blue team all defending on the point was going to spell a headache for the red team. Oh, a pick from the Doomfist off the enemy McCree. A really, really good surprise jump in and jump out to get that health pack to get back. And another one comes in, gets the Bastion, and gets the ulti ready to get that Mercy. A little bit overkill, I would say, but of course. Oh, she does not get the Mercy. The Mercy was on a big health pack. The Doomfist needs to be careful because the red team is spawning back in, decides to dash back out. A very good judgment there by Doomfist.
When you're taking down an enemy healer, though, I'm not sure there is quite such a thing as overkill, because that is so much of the sustain of the enemy team. So if you take down their healers, any damage you do to them is effectively unhealable damage, which makes just sort of chipping away at them a much more reasonable proposition.
Yeah, it was quite interesting because Doomfist ult synergizes very well with Zarya's ult, but of course we don't have a Zarya here. We do have an Orisa though, a well-timed Graviton pull along with the Doomfist ult can go for a team wipe completely. The blue team does get the victory there on the first point. Not quite sure what they're chuckling about, but we'll move on to the next round, which is going to be at City Center, I believe.
All right. Does not appear that we have. Oh, we do have our one rando who is staying on D.Va. I will say that the D.Va last round didn't manage to embarrass herself. That's kind of a nice change of pace from many of the randos that we happen to get. I will remind our team here.
Capture the objective.
Now the match starting now, everybody moving on to the point. The D.Va and the Orisa is good, and the Roadhog get triple tank here. Don't see that quite often, which means there's only one DPS, which is the Doomfist here, as well as 2 support heroes. Pretty good for sustaining, but remember they might not have the DPS enough, especially since there's a McCree and a Hanzo on the enemy team. The Zenyatta does getting that Doomfist pick from the red team, but the red team comes back with 2 kills. Gets the Doomfist and the Zenyatta dies. The Mercy actually gets the kill from the Pharah, but it'll be interesting looking forward from here who will get the points first.
Now, my real question here is, when you've got multiple tanks, does occasionally a tank take on a secondary role, such as a DPS role? And which of the tanks is the best to try to take that additional role? Sorry, I got distracted by Orisa being launched completely into the air.
Now, remember the old meta was triple tank, triple healer, since well, usually what will happen is there's an Ana on the team that can build the ult off the Reinhardt. The Reinhardt can go in with the Earth Shatter and swing his hammer. And Reinhardt will actually be the main DPS, interestingly enough, along with the Roadhog. But now the Roadhog is nerfed, his damage is nerfed, and D.Va, the patch has not come in yet, so triple tank here does not have the DPS they need. The biggest DPS will be from Orisa, but with the slow moving projectiles is not consistent enough compared to the Hanzo, the McCree, and the Doomfist. So the blue team is going to have quite a bit of trouble here getting the point back.
So if that Doomfist was able to have landed that punch on that Mercy, that pretty much would have been a one-hit kill on the enemy Mercy there, right?
Yes,
a fully charged up punch.
Yes, if the Mercy hits the wall, which would have been there, but completely misses. Really hard to target a flying Mercy. Oh, and catches the Pharah and the Rune. Very, very good pick there. The McCree does come in, can probably pick off that Doomfist if he so desires. And no, the red team Doomfist does get a blue team Doomfist, but the blue team does get a point, which means now they're going to rack up that percentage point. Red team Meteor Strike does come in, doesn't seem like it gets anyone. The Deadeye does come out, 2 offensive ults comes out, but the red team...
But yeah, 3 go down for the blue team there at once, the Meteor Fist, the High Noon, and the Scatter Arrow. But they do get a McCree in return. Unfortunately, Doomfist goes down as well. This D.Va does have her ult. The blue team does have 4 ults ready. So maybe they can group up and make one concerted push, especially behind this D.Va ult. If this D.Va is able to launch her mech in, chase the enemy off the point, and then everyone else can follow up.
Oh, the Pharah falling behind, but Mercy comes back with a double res. 1 kill off the red team.
Unfortunately, the D.Va goes down without using her ult.
Remember, the D.Va can get her back pretty quickly. The Meteor Strike misses and gets done, but does follow through with that kill. The Pharah here just flying around, not a really good hit scan on the blue team. The Dragon does come out, doesn't get any kills, but it looks like the blue team in a pretty comfortable position to take this point.
Yeah, 2 of the red team go down, and the blue team manages to use the Doomfist and the Mercy ult. in that fight, and then the Mercy's ult's already at 76% again, so probably by the time the red team is ready to fully group up and make a concerted push again, that Mercy's going to have her res back, which is going to make that push much harder. I do hear a Riptire coming through and manages to take out that Mercy.
Really, the Dragon really looking for that Mercy there. The double kill from the D.Va ult puts the blue team in a pretty comfortable position if they don't lose any more heroes. The Deadeye does come out to get one of the tanks. Remember, 3 tanks for the blue team, not too big of a difference. The McCree gets another kill from the support. North End does switch to Tracer, which is more DPS. And looks like the red team is in a pretty good position, but the McCree does go down as well as the Doomfister. D.Va really putting in work for this team.
Yeah, I think that between the D.Va and the Orisa, it's almost they don't need more DPS. It seems to be between those two, they're able to do fairly well. That D.Va keeps getting in nice and close, so making sure that all bullets from her shotguns are hitting a single target, which is where a lot of that DPS manages to come through.
Now red team finally back on the point, needs to hold this overtime as much as possible, but the blue team does get 3 kills. The McCree comes back with a kill on Tracer, but is that enough to hold off the point? This is going to be around a 5v1 for McCree, trying to get a flashbang off, but it was not enough. The Pharah comes in, the Pharah goes down. It looks like the blue team is going to secure this win.
And there we go. That just sort of concerted team effort. As soon as they were able to take the point back, they just never gave it away.
Now, do notice that from the triple tank, the blue team did switch off into 2 DPSs, a Tracer and a McCree at the end of the game, which really provided the DPS they needed to take back that point. Oh, the long range snipe from the Zenyatta, really well played. Oh, that is why the Dragon didn't kill anybody. The Zenyatta actually came out with his ult, able to save everybody from the Dragon there.
And there we go. Oh, you wanna? Yeah. Okay.
Main commentator, and then I'll move around the camera.
Sure. Opportunity to not move the camera around.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
Now, I'm going to be the camera person, and Lucas is going to switch to the main commentator, so you'll be hearing less of me and more of Lucas. This is going to be quite an interesting change for what you've been hearing up so far, so I'm going to leave it to Lucas. Gibraltar now.
Possibly. So on this Gibraltar map, they're going to be pushing, I believe. Are there any particular heroes on a Gibraltar map that are good for pushing here? I know there are several enclosed spaces and tunnels. So perhaps the Orisa and a Reinhardt, so that you can have shields to cover quite a bit of that incoming fire.
Yes, Gibraltar is quite an interesting map because so much of it is so open. The first section very open, third section very open. The middle section is quite enclosed. So Reinhardt or Orisa really needing that shield, the big shield to cover from any enemy snipers. How did it work this thing?
So you need to just right and left click to be able to cycle on through. For some reason, the function keys are not working in terms of giving us an easy way to switch between heroes. So I thought they were going to be pushing the cart, but it appears that they are going to be defending from this. So can we get a look at our full team lineup here?
All right, so a Sombra, interesting pick here, can be effective. Also, Torbjorn, not very traditional for a Gibraltar map.
But on defense, with the Reinhardt being able to set up, having that Torbjorn turret, which often just has better accuracy than actual human players, might be able to do quite a bit of work there. We've also got 2 healers with an Ana and a Zenyatta to try to keep that Reinhardt alive. And I also do find Torbjorn he's almost a semi-sniper with the way his shots work. They are fairly high damage, but they are slow moving. And MD Potato there takes a sort of pot shot with that Reinhardt. Now they are sort of letting the enemy team just get on the cart and sort of just trying to react to that setup here around this Torbjorn turret and make sure that that turret does as much damage as is possible to do. North End here on the Junkrat catches 2 of them and manages to launch them into the air, but not quite able to do anything about it. But then both Torbjorn and North End go down, but the enemy Anna and McCree go down as well, and the Torbjorn turret is down. Unfortunately, the blue Anna goes down as well. This means that the push is going to happen if anyone gets on the cart.
Now this is what I was talking about. Gibraltar first point here is a very open space, which means a Widow will be very, very effective, and that is what the red team did, being able to shut down that Torbjorn turret, and as well as really picking off the supports in the back. Riptire does find a Widow, but that's only temporary, as the Widow is going to come back very, very soon.
Right, but we still have this Junkrat coming up and able to do quite a bit of spread damage. That Trap does manage to get one, and he gets the McCree at the same time. Coming up behind this Reinhardt, that Reinhardt's just not able to handle a concussion grenade right at his feet. So in this sort of the tunnel here, they are able to hold them off with that spread damage from the Junkrat and the defenses from the Reinhardt.
Now Junkrat here is very effective in this tunnel, and I would like to see him kind of move back and spray tunnels down as to make the red team difficult. Does decide to go back a little bit, catches another person in a trap, now at the very good position to be firing grenades into the tunnel to really make trouble for the red team.
And all of his recent kills have been in the traditional Junkrat style of I don't see the person that I'm killing. I feel like if you see the person you're killing as a Junkrat, you're almost doing it wrong. Manages to jump in from behind and get one kill. There's a McCree that is now behind that Junkrat, which is making this a little bit more difficult. But he manages to throw those steel traps right at the feet of the enemy, and if you do a concussion grenade while the enemy is in that steel trap, that is an instant kill, which is a rather nice little mechanic. And he's got a Riptire ready to go. Let's see if he manages to use it once he gets himself into a at least a relatively safe position. The enemy Widowmaker does go down again to that Junkrat. That Widowmaker keeps trying to come up in those hallways, but those hallways are a really bad place to be when there's a Junkrat on the enemy team and able to just fill up that hallway with enough damage. The enemy Doomfist does go down, but McCree is able to take out that Junkrat. So the cart is being pushed forward just a little bit, but it is now contested. Just a reminder that no matter how many kills you get, that this is an objective-based game. You need to push that cart.
Now the red team being able to push this card a bit further. The Transcendence is ready for the blue team, which may buy some time for the blue team. Now the Torbjorn trying to set up a turret, which is going to have trouble because you kind of in a very risky position, trying to block the turret with his body, which is not going to turn out well.
I would have preferred it if that Torbjorn had just let the turret be there and soak up some of the enemy fire and just sort of be a distraction. They are stopping this cart at just over half a meter away from that checkpoint. If they can prevent that from happening, this game could end in under 2 minutes. So, Smelly Toes here on that Torbjorn, who did get his ult set up, his turret set up, and is ulting, so he is now able to take out that Widowmaker from a distance. And now that cart is going backwards. That is going the wrong way for the red team. They got it within half a meter of that point and weren't quite able to close the deal.
Now Junkrat coming back. Junkrat doing very well with the 2 concussion points, 1 for movement, 1 for damage, being able to stay alive long. But looks like the red team has caught on that. The Junkrat is spawning disaster, shutting him down very quickly whenever they see him.
And Torbjorn is actually almost able to act as a pseudo healer with those armor packs. So if someone is low on armor, they can just pick that up and get sort of an injection of health. While our Reinhardt goes down, in exchange, the 3 on the red team go down, and once again, that cart is getting close to the point, but they can't quite seal the deal. Appears that the red team is just having a little bit of finishing the push trouble here. They're able to get to there, they're able to
5
move
seconds
it
left.
fairly close, and if they're not able to actually touch this point, the game is going to be over. They don't even get an overtime, and there is a post-victory Riptire kill.
Now, just now, the red team did get a really good steep dart off from the charging Reinhardt, but was not able to follow through to get that really good opportunity. And the Junkrat, of course, the MVP of this game, flying around, a lot of bombs, a lot of mines, really wrecking havoc and making the red team very frustrated.
That is a little confusing as to why that particular moment was play of the game, because that's a moment where Junkrat died.
That's actually interesting because there's quite a play of the game where the play of the game player does die in the end, and it's usually because there was such a good aggressive push into the enemy team, gets a lot of kills, but because of the aggression does get picked off as a result, but still gets play of the game.
Right. And we are now past noon, so that is usually our end time, and we are losing several members, so I think we're going to leave this game and start tearing down our equipment.
Arriving at Watch
So-
Gibraltar.
Yeah, I have places to be by 1 o'clock, so I do need to tear down the equipment.
All right,
so if
we're
you
gonna
can go ahead and Alt-Tab and stop the stream.
All right. Thank you for watching. If it's just one viewer, it's good practice. We will see you guys next time.